So, Tom and Anne are planning a working holiday to Australia. They intend to save €120 per month and increase this by 10 until they go. So month 1 is 120, month 2 is 130, month 3 is 140, month 4 is 150, month 6, count onwards, it'll be 160, then 170, and then count all the way up to month 12. So there are your following numbers. Now, there's a big difference between what? Oh, these. Alright, so big thing I want to talk to you about is, can anybody tell me what's the difference between T2 and S2? What the So T is what you would save in week 2. You save 130. S2 is how much in total you save by week 2, which would be 250. You see the way you have to add 120 to 130? Yeah. We put down those blinds, will we? There's a big difference between T2 and S2. T2 is 130, but S2 is 250. So in question A, part 2, are you looking for S18 or T18? Choice. Are you looking for T18 or S18? Which one do you think you're looking for? T18 or S18? It says the total amount. Yeah. It was the total amount saved in month 18, it'd be T18. But the total amount saved for the first 18 months is S18. Okay? Now we're just going to do Sn equals n over 2. 2 times A, our A value is 120, so 2 times 120 is 240. And then D is 10. And then we're going to get 10n minus 10. And then put all that in, and you're going to get n over 2 into 230 plus 10n. Plus 10n. Now, some people multiply by n and then divide by 2. You get full marks for that. Well, if you multiply by n and divide by 2, you should get 115n plus 5n squared. Does everybody get what I did there? Multiply the top by n, and then divide the answer by 2. Good so far? Okay, let's keep going. Tom and Anne decide they want to travel to Australia to save €4,300. How many months do they intend to save for? We need to do Sn equals 4,300. Now, there's a way of cheating this, isn't there? What was the formula in the last part we had a second ago? But what did I get at the very end? Yeah, so if I go to my table function and I do, what's it, n over 2, yeah, so x over 2, and then what did I have inside? 230 plus 10n. Okay, now what I can figure out here is, what does it say, 40 months, is it? Oh, it doesn't tell us how many months. So I'll start at 0, I'll end at, 50, and I'll go up in 5s. And what this will do is it'll tell me how much money I have saved. So after 5 months I have 700, after 10 months I have 1,600, and eventually after 20 months I have 4,300. Does everybody see that? You could do trial and error here, where you say, this is my Sn formula, right? So Sn equals 115 plus 5n squared, okay? Now, you could do trial and error where you just say, oh, I did S19, and then I did, you did S15, and then you did S20. And you just basically said, oh, look, S15 was, oh, that's an N, isn't it? Very good. Yeah, it's 115n plus 5n squared. Or you could also substitute 15 and 20 into that equation. And what you're essentially claiming is that you did trial and error. And you go, oh, look, I did this here. And then I did this one here. And then what you're basically saying is, oh, this one turned out to be 4,300. That means the answer is 20 months. And if I did S15, the reason why I put in the wrong answer is just to show that you actually tried trial and error. Did everybody get that? Now that's worth a lot of marks for some full to high partial credit. It's the easier method of the two. Anybody know the other methods? Sn equals 4,300. So what you do in that case, you put the whole thing equal to, okay, and then what you get, 5n squared plus 115n minus 4,300. Realistically, we're all doing the minus b formula, aren't we? You're all going to do the minus b formula. Now, we're not going to actually do the minus b formula, just because I don't think we'll have the time. I want to cut corners a little bit. So you throw all that into the minus b formula, and what you should get, this is a part 3, is it? You'll get two answers. You'll get n equals minus 43, and you'll get n equals 20. Which one has to be the correct answer? 20, because it can't be a negative number. Is that alright with you guys? That's both methods cleared up for you. Alright. Now, there's a tricky part here, okay? As part of their visa requirements, Tom and Anne are required to have a savings of 5,000 Australian dollars per person. How many of them are there? So that means they need 10,000. 10,000 Australian dollars. Now, number wise, which is bigger? Euro or Australian dollars? So, 10,000 Australian dollars will result in a smaller number of euro. You only ever have two choices. Multiply by 1.61 or divide by 1.61. You're going to divide. The division makes it smaller, multiplication would make it bigger. And when you divide by 1.61, what you're going to get is 6,211.18. Now, these guys have already saved up how much? They've already saved up 4,300. And when you take the two of them away from each other, you're going to get 9 to the nearest euro, 1,911 euro. And that's how much they're going to have to borrow. Go. Alright, let's keep going. Remind me after 30 minutes to stop, because I need to save the video and not lose it like last time. Okay? This question here. Alright, I'm skipping straight to it. The other ones are easy, okay? So for the lads who aren't here, the minus is the issue, but we'll deal with that in a second. The minus in the middle is what causes all the hassle. This little part here is what takes all the marks off everybody. Now, you're going to establish a common denominator and write down the common denominator for like a lot of marks. So what is the common denominator? X times x minus 1. And over here, another x. Haven't multiplied out yet. It's important that you put the common denominator in. And then over here. And over here. Now, the mistake a lot of people make is if I multiply 2 by 3 by 4, some people think that you multiply 2 by 3 and the 2 by the 4. You do 2 at a time. 2 times 3, 6. 6 times 4, 24. Or 2 times 4, 8. 3 times 8, 24. Do 2 at a time and you're grand. Okay? Now what Peter was saying is the bottom doesn't matter anymore. Why does the bottom not matter? So what's 1 times x minus 1? Now here's the tricky part. What you see, if I combine the 3 of these together, what you get? I get minus 3x. What's minus 3x times x plus 1? Minus, yeah. And over this side, minus 1x squared plus 1x, right? Bring everything over to one side, and we should get minus 2x squared. Then these ones cancel, do they? That one and that one. They're the same on both sides, aren't they? What do I have left here? And then minus 1, right? What are you going to do to both sides? Multiply by minus 1. And it's actually a relatively easy one. Reference number would be 2. So you get 2x squared plus 2x plus 1x plus 1. You could always minus b it. To be honest, you'd probably minus b it. 2x into x plus 1. In fact, there's no need to even know how to factorize other than doing it faster, if I'm being honest. So you'd probably just double check with the minus b anyway. And your two answers are x equals minus 1, 2x equals minus 1, x equals a half. Reason being is 2x plus 1 equals 0, and x plus 1 equals 0. Yep, we're good. Okay. Now, here's a function, and here's the graph. Okay? You throw that into your calculator, okay? What? What's the next one you have? What? The derivative. I know ahead of time. I'm going to lob all this into the calculator, okay? And here's what I'm going to do. Just going to put it all into the calculator. And I'm going to get a gist for... I'm going to get a gist for... I'm going to start at minus 5. And then I'm going to end at 5. I'm going to step at 0.5. You'll see why in a minute. Now, here are the points, aren't they? Now, what point is 0 at? 0 minus 2. That's where it crosses the y-axis, isn't it? Now, how do you show that? Well, replace x with 0. Another shout out to Kirby. Remember, when it crosses the y-axis, x is equal to 0, buddy. When it crosses the x-axis, y is equal to 0. I hope he hears this. Let's get Jarvis. So, will I get full marks for writing minus 2? Have to write? Okay. You can get it later. If I go too fast, I go too fast. You'll get it later on, okay? Got a lot of ground to cover. Now, next thing is F4 and F4.5. Everybody see that? Now, I'm lazy because I already have it in my calculator, don't I? So all I'm doing is showing that I'm doing 4.5 and that's all I'm doing. Okay? Now, you look up. Oh, sorry. Go in here. Find out where 4.5 is. 4.5 is 1.375. 4 is minus 6. What can you tell me about those 2 points? One of them is below the x-axis, and the other one is above the x-axis. So what does that mean? Somewhere in between 4 and 4.5, it crosses the axis. If you get what I'm saying. 4.5 could be up here, while 4 is down here. You see the way it crosses the axis in between the 2 points? That's what the answer is. It crosses the axis between the 2 points. Okay? Right, let's drive on. Alright, the derivative. Alright, Peter, what's the derivative of this? Bring the 3 to the front. Yeah. Bring the 2 to the front. Get rid of the x. What happens to any regular numbers? No. First derivative means when is the slope equal to 0. I see two parts where the slope is equal to 0. Everybody see these two parts here? One's a minimum, the other one is a max. Everybody agree that's the max, that's the min. How do you know? Whichever one has the bigger y value is the max, and whichever one has the smaller y value has to be the min. Is that alright? Now here's what you're going to do next. You're going to solve this equation equal to 0 because the slope equals 0. Now you can do the minus b formula if you want, or you can factorize. So 3 times 3 is 9, and you're going to put it as minus 9 minus 1. My advice is the minus b formula, and we get 3x into x minus 3 minus 1 x minus 3, 3x minus 1 x minus 3 equals 0. X equals 3 and x equals plus 1/3, because it's going to be 3x equals 1 and then x equals. Oh, now here's what we have to look for. Which one do you think is the max anyway? We go back here. I think the max is the third one, and the min is the 3, isn't it? Now, how do you find out which one's which? You get your original formula, yeah, and with your original formula, what you're going to do is you got to insert 1/3 and 3 to find out which one has the higher y value. I definitely think it's third. We'll find out. Will somebody do that in the calculator for me to save me time? Paul's going to cover it, Daniel, your grant. And then the other one's easy because it's going to be already in my calculator. The other one's going to be easy. The table thing will only give me the answer for 3, which is minus 11. I'd have to input it manually to get the answer for the third. Now, when you put in a third, I believe the answer is 3. Then we get 3. I'm thinking the 2 points are 1/3, 3, and 3 minus 11. To me, that means this one's the yellow is max, and purple is min. You get 3, Paul, did you? Alright, let's do this myself. So now there is a way I could see here, Paul. I could do it like this, Paul. Look, I was being really sneaky about this. Here's what I could do. Start at 0, end at, I don't know, 5. Oh, sorry. Start at 0, end at 5, and do a step of what, guys? 1 over 3. Look now. 0. What are we looking for? 1/3, is it? 1/3 is minus 1.51. Sorry. 1/3 is minus 1.51. Is that correct? Sorry, is that what you got, Paul? Oh, Paul's correct. It's below the x-axis, isn't it? So it can't be an answer of push. It has to be minus, so it's minus 1.5. So I was wrong when I put down 3 that time. So the actual answer was, is that what you got, Paul? Yeah, marking scheme had it wrong. I had the marking scheme beside me, and I had it wrong. So because this one's less negative than that one, it has the higher y value. If you have the higher y value, it means you're the max. Cool? Right on. Question 5 already. Right. 4 significant figures. It means you got to round it off. Round this up to 299,800,000. Everybody see that? 299,800,000. That's 4 significant figures. Everybody cool with that? Then, if I put a number 1 at the end here, how many significant figures would I have now? 9 actually. Because every number would count. Okay? When the zeros are in between, they don't count. Or when they're at the end, they don't count. How many significant numbers in this one? How many significant numbers in this one? 3. How many significant numbers in this one? 1. The zeros don't count. How many significant numbers in this one? 4. Okay? Now, we have to change the answer to scientific figures. So does anyone remember how to do that? Shift, setup. Shift, setup, number format, science mode. Okay, and get out, and then just put this number into your calculator. What you get? Oh, did anybody get that as well? Oh, did I? 4 zeros or 5 zeros? 5 zeros. Now, I also made a mistake with my science mode. Shift, setup, number format, science mode, 0. I pressed 1 by mistake. .988 by 10 to the 8. Who got this? Everybody cool with that? Now, if you want to remember how to do this really quickly without the calculator, here you go. Divided by 10 once, divided by 10 twice, divided by 10 3 times, divided by 10 4 times, divided by 10 5 times, divided by 10 6 times, divided by 10 7 times, divided by 10 8 times. 2.988. Okay. That's if your calculator failed you. Okay. Now, next thing we got to do is your error. The true percentage error is error divided by true value multiplied by 100. Now the error is the two numbers take away from each other, and that will get you an error of 7,542. The true value is 299,792,458, and you multiply that by 100, and you get an answer of 0.002515. How many decimals am I allowed? So 0.0025. Okay, and it's actually a percent. Very, 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 very small error. Shall we move on? Okay. All right. See this speed here? That's how many meters per second it goes. It's such a large distance that you can't even picture how far that is. Okay? Now, I want it in kilometers per hour. How do we change seconds into hours? If it does this much in a second, how much will it do in an hour? Multiply by 60 will tell you how much it does in a minute. Multiply by another 60 to find out how much it does in an hour. The answer will be in meters. How do you change the answer into kilometers? Divide by thousands. So for example, if your answer was 5,000 meters, you'd have to divide that by 1,000 to change it into 5 kilometers. So you're going to throw all that into the calculator all in one go, and what I'm hoping you get is 1,079,252,849 kilometers per hour. Alright. Probably still entering it, to be honest. I'm just using the marking scheme today to make me move faster. Alright. 8 minutes and 19 seconds is how fast? How many seconds? Multiply 8 by 60 and add on 19 to get 499 seconds. How fast does it travel per second? That many meters. So you're going to get your speed, your meters per second. That's how many meters per second it travels. You're going to multiply that by 499. It wants the answer in kilometers. So what you have to do after that? Your answer is currently in meters. So what you have to do after that? Divide by 1,000. And your answer should come to 150 million. Two significant figures. So I'll give you to this one here. All right, Ben. How many significant figures in this question? In this answer that's on the board currently? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 2 zeros at the end won't count. They're at the end. They're not sandwiched in between. I'm only allowed 2 significant figures. So what do I need to do there? Round it up to 150,000. Sorry, 150 million kilometers. Good. Now, onto the business maths. Yes, Daniel. Oh, good man. Yeah, why not?